This video is brought to you by Side Notes. As some of you know, I love tweaking and experimenting with my iPhone home screen. Constantly trying to up my previous layout and improve on it. Last time I was seeking inspiration on X, I asked you if you'd like me to rate and share your setups. So here we are. I took a sneak peek at few of your layouts since I wanted to go freestyle this time around. 132 unread iMessages and 19 missed calls. Dude. Before I begin, it is only fair to show you my current home screen setup, which I'll talk more about in an upcoming episode, but since few of you have spotted the new widget that briefly popped up in my last video, and I'm sure I'll get asked a lot, here it is. It's called Weather View and it's now available online, so feel free to check it out below, alongside a new 8K wallpaper pack I called Galactic Odyssey. So, grab your drink, let's get to it. The first submission is from Ahmad Ansari, and it is a very clean layout with a simple wallpaper and a large widget that pretty much gives you the date, time, the weather conditions, wind speed, sunrise, sunset, and so forth. Very similar to what I currently have, but in a different style. I love the layout. The only thing here is that I see one row of icons, which means that something else is going on up top, which I'm not sure how he's able to push those icons down there. Probably he has some dummy shortcuts up top to keep the single row on the bottom. I would have cleaned up additionally the search menu down here because no need to stay there, but other than that, very clean setup and I appreciate it. Okay, moving on to another user. I'm not gonna try to pronounce the name. This is the cleanest so far. There's pretty much nothing going on aside from just a clock widget. So the only thing that I can say for this layout is that there is obviously an iOS update that needs to be taken care of. And second, probably I'll go for dark mode so that the default clock widget is black instead of white. But other than that, it's pretty good. Moving on to a layout that initially looks very clean, but there's a lot of work that's put into it. Starting off with the lack of labels. All the icons look almost OEM, but they're not. And all of them are custom icons, including the folders. But I do see a bit of a mix in style in terms of the actual UI elements on the icons. But aside from that, the organization is very nice. Very neat, very organized. I like it. And I love the wallpaper, by the way. Okay, moving on to another user that has nothing. It is just 4 icons in the dock. It's clean, I guess. Moving on to 9Fox. Here you go, mate. My latest cart design wallpaper pack. I appreciate this layout. I see this popping up more and more recently, this style of wallpapers where you have like a little square below the widget on the lock screen. It would have been nice to see what everything looks like on the inside, but I can still appreciate a clean and creative layout. Okay, moving on. This is a very busy layout, and what makes it busy is actually the widgets and the wallpaper that has some sort of a dotted texture underneath. I mean, it's creative, it's great, and I actually like it. It's very busy, but it's very inspiring at the same time, and it's very informative. By the way, the new widget actually no longer has a name, so when you update the app or download it, it doesn't say widget anymore, which means that when you place your widget on the home screen, there's no longer this annoying text below the main widget, which is great. Not sure how you pulled the 2 weekly rows in the calendar. Usually there's a way to pull just one unless you create a separate one, but I like it, it's creative. Moving on to Andy. Andy has sent us a very generic looking layout. And nothing bad about it, except for the 3,478 emails. So, Preston has sent us a very minimal looking grayscale layout with just white and some hints of blue. And I like the custom icons, although this style gets lost a little bit when you have all those outlines in folders. While on the topic of minimalism, I'd like to show you a minimal looking yet super handy iOS app called Side Notes. The goal of the app is to be able to take down notes, put together tasks, and dump images quickly. The app is in fact a companion for the Mac, where it lives on the side, appearing when you click the little bar or move your cursor to the screen side, ensuring a distraction-free note-taking experience even over full-screen apps. All the notes can of course be organized and formatted using Markdown. As a creative person, I love working with colors, and being able to color coordinate my jots is incredible. How and where Side Notes appears is configurable while offering themes, Apple shortcut integrations, and backups, and what I can really relish is the distraction-free interface. It shows up only when needed, no matter my current workflow. Side Notes is a one-time payment app offering no subscriptions, and I'll be sure to link it in the first link in the description below for you to check it out. Okay, so this user has a default clock widget, a custom... That's a box. I think box. I think box is another app for Formula 1 enthusiasts. Okay, these two widgets are actually default widgets for the box app. Okay, that's great. So aside from that, there is a Beats icon for a music app apparently. So I need to figure out what app is that. So let's use the S24 Ultra and see what this is. Apparently, and unfortunately, nothing comes out when I do an image search for the icon. So let's see if I can find it in the App Store. I got nothing. So if you know what this app is, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to know what kind of a music app it is, unless this is just a custom icon for something. Thanks for your submission. Moving on to Jeff. Okay, so Jeff has sent us a home screen full of widgets. There's just 4 icons on the bottom, and apparently, Jeff, you have 3 missed calls. It's probably important, so you better call whoever has called you 3 times. Call them back, please. Okay, so we have X-Blaze Sanders, and X-Blaze Sanders has a thing for folders, apparently, because I see 5 rows of folders, and I appreciate that all of them have an emoji classifying them for what they are. But Mr. Sanders, where is your phone app? And why is it in a folder, apparently in the phone folder? I mean, it's sort of like an art on its own, having a screen just filled with folders, I guess. Yeah, moving on. Alrighty then, we have Jack, who has sent us a layout filled with custom icons, and I appreciate them. I'd go for a different wallpaper. It's kind of distracting. Moving on. We have the Shaft project, and the Shaft project has a default. Why would you have a default iPhone wallpaper and you're watching this video? So Z Shaft has the Reminders app and also some other tools like your Unify, and I guess this is your Wi-Fi camera app, and 10B calculator. So that's not the default calculator, that's a 10B calculator. Pipe drive. What is pipe drive? Let's see. Okay. So. Oh, that's a CRM sales tracker by Pipe Drive. Okay. Very interesting. Not. And moving on. We have Matteo, who has sent his shot of his home screen, which looks beautiful, by the way. I love, spending the time to place your phone and take a very nice picture of it. Wondering what you took the picture with, since you have the phone there, but it looks very nice. I like it. So if we go and zoom in, we have... That's not the default weather widget, is it? Okay, so Casatis, he took the time to place his home screen in a render, which looks beautiful. And overall, I really like it. I see that you're going for more skeuomorphic, old school type of icons and stuff. I appreciate that. I'd get rid of the strong bevel and emboss on the actual widget sections. But aside from that, it looks very clean. I love the transition for the background and how everything looks as if it's on paper or carton or something else. Overall, very nice. Moving on to someone who has sent us, Hewudu, has sent us this widget, which gives us weather information, battery life, and a calendar. Now this is Ouija, apparently, and I'm not sure, but probably these are just 3 separate widgets that can be placed as stacks. I like them, not sure how I feel about the actual dotted background, but overall, pretty good. Okay, moving on, default. This is your default home screen. I can see that it's very default. Yes. So we have an Android, and I assume this is an S23 or S24. At a glance, it looks good, but everything seems squished. I mean, the actual icons are ginormous. First of all, there's no white space anywhere, and everything looks like...
Yeah, squished a lot.
Maybe space out things a little bit more, give it more of a white space all around. Yeah, let's just move on. I love this style of drawing. I'm not sure if it was AI generated or something else. It's very nice. The combination of the colors is great. It's blurred out on the inside, which is fantastic. Overall, you just have a Ouija weather widget, which is great. Thanks for sending it. Moving on to Luis has sent us a very calm and zen plant layout, which, you know, translates the same on the inside. I see you using the Arc search in the Arc browser, I assume, which is great. Fantastical routines, flow things. Things is a great app for tasks, chat, GPT. So you use Notion. Nice. Moving on to the next user. And his layout is apparently 2 Ouija widgets. The large one gives you the temperature in Celsius with clear skies, and the rest is just more weather and the date. The top looks kind of off balance with this completely black background. Probably, if you can and if you have the ability, you can tweak the actual images of the widgets to speak to each other more, because right now they do seem like separate widgets. I'd make them more coherent. Actually, I have a pack that's coming soon, and I'll show you a glimpse right now so you can get an idea of what I'm talking about. 2 separate widgets, but they talk to each other, designed very similarly. Moving on to PandaDev, who has sent us his iPhone. That's an iPhone setup. And then we have a Neo server widget, which I can say nothing about. But I see a Ouija widget that gives us the time, which is very creative, by the way. I like it. The App Store icon is cool. Not a fan of the rest of the icons or the fact that they don't communicate throughout the actual screen. Threema? What is this? Let's check it out. Threema. Secure. What is this? The messenger that puts security and privacy first. The messenger that puts security and privacy first. Chat anonymously. No phone number required. You're doing something suspicious over there. Okay, so it's a chat secure messenger thing. Okay, great. Never heard of it before. I'll give it a read and see what makes it better than the rest of them. Okay, let's move on to something a little bit more different from user Long Live Thai. And it's clearly Apple Vision Pro inspired. The actual widget is a Vision Pro that shows you the date, I assume, it's the 7th. Now this looks cool, but it's a little bit all over the place. For example, unless you can scroll on it, which I'm sure you can't, there is a Lunar New Year in 2 days, which is kind of hidden behind the actual days of the calendar. So something is not right with this widget, but I appreciate the actual, I'm not sure if this is it's not part of Ouija, these icons that go inside of this hole for some reason. I think it's part of the background, and maybe you can tap on some of the icons. Let me know if that's the case. It's interesting, and I love the separation between the top portion of the layout of the iPhone and the actual dock, which looks very different from anything else. And again, I'd get rid of this search icon here. You can just turn it off from the settings. I talk about it a lot. No need to spoil the actual, you know, vision behind this. I see that you have a video playing that's hidden there. Wondering what's playing there, but no need to let me know. Moving on to Tech and Tweaks. Tech and Tweaks has sent us something that I can only describe as confusing, because we have an interesting wallpaper that has different rounded shapes that grow in width and shrink down as it goes further down and further up the actual background. And then we have completely blacked out icons. How is it that you have shortcuts with custom icons on top of which you have actual red bubbles? Have I missed a shortcuts update for some reason? And you can do that? Okay, I have to investigate and I'll let you know. Very all over the place for my taste. But I appreciate the effort because I know how much work goes into each and every individual icon and creating a shortcut for it. So kudos to that. So let's move on to It's Me Data. This is not an iPhone home screen, but like my own Android home screen. I can appreciate any home screen all the time since I also use an Android phone. Now I see that you have a lot of notifications and everything is very tiny. I can barely read what's on the actual Sunday agenda. I don't know if you have sharp vision and the actual image here is your eyes being tired from trying to figure out what's on the screen. It's very clean. I love this paper texture style with monochromatic effects in black and white. I really like it. Perhaps I just raise up the actual size of the text if that's even possible. And maybe for the second row above the dock, I put black text instead of white because it kind of throws me off. But overall, I like it. Moving on to Chris David. So Chris David sends us an Android home screen and it's actually very clean and tiny. Bolt. What is the Bolt? Is that like a renting scooter app or something? Let's see if I can find it. Bolt is request a ride on the App Store. So it's like Uber, but for probably another country or something. I'd probably stretch the Google search all the way to the right so that it has this, because you have centered text and widget on the top, and then the Google thing is just stays on the left. So just center it. It's gonna look much nicer. Eric, I don't like folders. Need to get where I want to go fast. Hashtag classic. Hashtag you're using an iPhone mini, right? Because this is a very small phone, or you're using just enhanced icons from the accessibility settings of the phone because everything is just ginormous. So I'm not sure if this is helping you get things fast, but I'm missing a little bit of a white space. Everything is just like cramped. There's no space for anything. But I can appreciate you finding stuff fast because that's the whole purpose of having the ultimate home screen, which I've talked about many times before. By the way, if you end up enjoying this video, subscribe because why not? Alrighty tighty, let's move on to Astro iOS. He is sending us custom icons that work in tandem with a large widget. This layout would look very nice right now without the actual widget text because that's the only thing that's throwing me off this setup. And maybe the second phone icon because it's not an outline. Actually, it's a mix. So you have outline icons and then you have icons that are filled in. I'd go for either outlined or colored icons, but I can appreciate the clean aesthetics of this layout. It's very nice. So people sleep on icon packs, says Big Janice from the 9. People sleep on icon packs. What does that mean? People sleep on icon packs. I see that you don't sleep on icon packs because you're using custom ones, which is great. Here's the problem. You have large black icons which stand out in the dock but are completely lost when it comes to the actual top portion of the home screen because you have a completely black background, which you can easily fix if you just enlarge the actual image of the building, which actually is a very nice combo. The next thing that you need to fix is actually the widget, because apparently it's something that you're building yourself, which I can always admire. But you can give it a bit more space, maybe just move the text a little bit towards the center of the frame so that it looks balanced. Maybe use a thinner font with some caps letters. It's gonna look much cleaner than that. Cameron is sending us a very interesting layout, specifically the widget. This is very nice. Actually, these are two separate widgets. The first one shows all the weather information and the forecast for the next 3 days, and the second widget shows us all the settings of the phone itself, like brightness, volume, a lot of information, agenda, calendar, what's playing. That's a very feature-packed widget, but it actually looks great in this setup. And I see that you have custom icons for the default icons. Not sure if you actually spotted that the first time when you looked at it, but that's wild. I mean, you spend the time to create shortcuts for your default apps to make them still looking default, but a little bit different, standing out. So kudos to that. All right, so minimal Friday lock screen. This is from Most. That is indeed a very minimal lock screen. I like the drawing of the lady and how she's wondering why she's missing the rest of her body on this lock screen. But overall, very nice and clean. I love it. Very deep. Has sent us a very default looking layout. I see that you're using the journal app. If you do, let me know if that is actually helping it and you find a reason to journal it in, daily in it. Okay, so there's an interesting app here that I want to check out, and it's called Grow. I couldn't find it on the App Store, so hopefully with some AI we might be able to figure out what it is. Nothing comes up and it's not in the App Store, so if you can let me know what it is, I'm very curious what kind of an app it is. Alright, so we're almost to the end. We have a submission from Antonio Venero, and that's his setup, which is very, very nice actually. I think this is the winner this time around. I love the implementation of the actual dotted background in combination with the popping out icons, the custom pack that was used here, and the widgets. We have a weekly widget, and we also have 2 additional small widgets. The first one shows you the time of date, and there is a counter that moves as the the day progresses. And the next one is, I guess it's a timer or a countdown timer for an event, which is great. And the last submission, it's very interesting for one reason. 133,932 unread emails. I'm not sure if you have applied for the Guinness World Record for unread emails, but that would be a great opportunity, because why would you have so many unread emails, and why would you keep the actual bubbles active for this crazy amount of unread emails? And in fact, the theme goes on with 132 unread iMessages and 19 missed calls. Dude, I think this is the Redbubble inspired theme for this home screen, because aside from that, everything is pretty standard. Let's see if there's an interesting app. NatWest. What is NatWest? Let's see if I can find it on the App Store first. Clear spend. Get a clear view of your business spending. Okay, that's great. It looks fantastic, but it has a 1-star rating on the App Store. So is this something that you were trying to build or you're creating? Because if that's the case, then kudos for doing that. But if you're not, then maybe it's not the best app that you should use for that purpose. But either way, I appreciate your submission. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more of this type of episodes, let me know by liking this video. And for more specific home screen setups and layouts, actually tutorials as well, check out this video right here. It's been an absolute pleasure. This is E, over and out.